challenging to find our jobs. We all of our baskets, like ice steak, super good. So we want to be the chef who actually puts it on the plate. We don't want to be the person who doesn't get the judges. We don't want to be the person who's done like 4 minutes early. Judges don't fire days aren't. So, in any case, we are looking at a multi-age model as well. It's a little different track, and hopefully play along with us. It'll intrigue you enough to want to investigate the school year. We looked at, really wrestled with the idea of how multi-age learning should work. We know the teachers are involved. We love to have some information that helps them know their kids, and I think it's a real strength of our teachers that they're really accessing great amounts of data now. We wanted to look at perhaps grouping our students across a couple of grade levels in a way that is not very traditional. So we were looking at learning types, learning balance. Matt did a lot of research on whether or not it's even a valid way to group children. That if you group by, and we went with the VAKT model, visual model for instead of tactile, also some there. And he found through his research that there's a lot to be said for kids being able to learn in the classroom when their modalities are targeted correctly. So we were thinking about developing that model into the ability to take 2 grade levels, the grade levels that traditionally challenge elementary school principals, lead teachers, enrichment teachers, and program teachers the most, that transition from grades 2 to 3, and use the VAKT model to combine and create a instructional block in the fall of school that will allow kids to participate in a variety of interesting STEM-based, authentic, type instructional experiences. We also were looking at something that, knowing that this would be a pilot experimental, if it works, we are patting ourselves on the back. If it doesn't work, we're still patting ourselves on the back because the system's taking a risk. But we didn't want to invest a tremendous amount of financial resources in something that were to take off or not take off had a lot of recurring costs. We felt that was something that was our responsibility to the stakeholders of Washington County was to develop something that used all the tools and strategies that we had in place already. Add-on component, but that didn't necessarily burden the system with costs and time. So we're starting with this resource strategy each year. So that's the foundation of our model. So we were thinking about this. We took a pretty logical stop for this model. We were looking at first steps. We thought, okay, first of all, we need to identify a school. We're talking about since we're looking at 4 components of VAKT. We needed a school basically that had 2 rounds of the second grade, 2 rounds of third grade. We chose second and third grade simply because if you look at those elementary schools, if you're in elementary, you know the second graders go to their shoes tied and somebody tucks it together. And then they go to third grade, all of a sudden they're getting a lot of homework and they're going to sign and they got to take standardized tests. Nobody ties their shoe. And the tools get out. Well, not. But there are some third grade teachers who might think that. So we wanted to think about the fact that in second and third grade, in our schools, our experiences, there are tremendous range of abilities and interests. We have those kiddos who are leaving second grade that are still ages, still 7-year-olds, 8-year-olds, who have limited experiences or are still growing and stretching mentally, developmentally, and academically. We also have some tremendously sophisticated kids who are growing. And so we thought, what an interesting way to take a look at capitalizing on the strengths and needs of that particular age group. We also thought it was really important that we have stakeholder buy-in. As a parent of a second grader right now, I know that in my school, all of a sudden, put my child in a grouping that didn't look traditional, I have to ask questions. I think all of us who have kids in the school system or had kids in the school system would do the same thing. We think it's very paramount to the success of this. Communicate well and wisely to parents why we're doing this, why their children get this experience, and what benefits it brings, and what challenges it brings to their teachers, because teachers are going to need a great deal of support from their parents throughout the entire experience. And then we thought, well, we have this idea. We really need to have a research-based or reference ability to actually get at what kids love us. Fortunately, one of my collaborators is Maureen.
I can do that.
You know a little bit about assessment.
So what we looked at to do a quick little search to find out were there any assessments out there for learning styles. And as teachers, we've always done, you know, the worksheets and how do our kids learn the best. And what we found is there's actually a whole learning style network, international. It's ILSA, and ILSA has the ELSA, which is the Elementary Learning Style Assessment. And this is designed for students who are 7 to 9 years old. They actually have one for 7 to 9, 10 to 11. They have a whole range, even up to adults. So not only is it something that you could use with little kids, you could use this with the upper level kids. And it's based on the research that's done and done, which started way back in 1978 with learning styles. And this is, if you want to go look, if you have any iPads to show me one, you want to go to www.learningstyles.net. This is their website for the network. And you can see that it's in many different countries. A lot of countries that tend to do really well on those international assessments. So thought it was kind of interesting. Looked at what the ELSA looked like. So the nice thing about ELSA is it's $5 a student, so it's actually reasonably priced. It has a battery of questions. The next thing is no right, no wrong, just how do you feel about things. And what it is designed for the primary kids, you need to make clowns and pirates, so everything is based on that. So it's kind of like a fun assessment. And you read, some of the kids could read stories. Some of it's just things like how do you learn best. I learn best, and have little pictures. So it's a really engaging assessment. And so this is kind of what it looks like if you're looking at the amount of lights that a student would like to have. I mean, it gets very in-depth about what they like. So does a child like the lights to be low? Does I like it to be bright? Or don't really care? The nice thing about this is you get a very comprehensive report out of this assessment. And this includes everything. The first 4 are environmental, so sound, light, temperature, and setting. We have motivation, conformity, task persistence, structure. It pretty much tells you everything you want to know about a kid. And this goes home to parents. So not only are the teachers getting something out of it, but the parents also would get an idea of when their child learns best, what their child, what kind of environment their child likes. So it kind of gets that home community thing going. The best thing about this is that there's some things that we can't change, but there's some things that we can. So we can provide them with different life cycles, something that kids have a desire to have. So this is part of the report, and then this is a kind of a close-up one. So it tells the kid about how you learn best. So kind of building on that, this is something that we do once for the kids, and then this is kind of where we start with how we group our kids.
Okay, we're looking at regrouping for a STEM block. I know some of the 21st century learning skills and STEM initiatives that Washington County Public Schools have embraced. We're going to be looking at a shortened period of time because, like Brian was saying, kind of set it up. We are looking to maximize what we have already and look at our funds and not waste a lot of money. A lot of our programs have been implemented system-wide, and we work out the kinks as we go. We're looking at an approach where we're looking at small scale, working out kinks, and figuring out things before we give everybody, here you go do this. We want it to be purposeful. We're looking at 2 to 4 groups based on their predominant style. We're utilizing our GATE staff. I used to be an enrichment teacher. They're called GATE now, it's a talented educator. And a lot of times teachers weren't utilizing the people that were in our building. The GATE teacher went off, they took their little group. Oh yeah, I lost my top 5 kids, my top 10 kids, what do I do with the rest of these kids? And the reality was, and there still is that we're not utilizing our experts. And they have a lot of knowledge, they get professional development, so we can have people actually working together to say, okay, this is how we're going to reach these students, and this is how we want to reach this group of students. Students will be doing project-based inquiry, and they're also going to be doing things that they're interested in. So it'll be interest surveys throughout, So the kids that are really tactile might be working on something totally different than the kids that are doing visual. But they'll be based on literacy and our STEM initiatives. It's the domain of the
Yeah,
LSAT.
these are the domains that we would focus on through the LSAT. There's a lot more, but we would be looking at the sociological and the physiological. So time of day, what kind of group they like to be in. Try to match these kids together so that if it's a bunch of kids that like to work alone, maybe you don't want to have a lot of group projects. Maybe you want to have individual projects. Kind of matching those kids together.
So we're looking at UDL principles, and that is something that the GATE teachers have really had a lot of professional development with. And we're talking about the vertical teaming parts of it too. A lot of schools say they vertically team. Yeah, they look at each other's scrolls 1 or 2 times a year. They pass each other in the hallway. Hey, how did Johnny do last year in the writing concepts, those kind of things. We're looking at really getting people together, taking that time, which teachers all the time say, we don't have the time to do it, and give them that. So we're giving students choice. There will be multiple outcomes, not just one, okay, where everybody's going to be writing about holidays at Christmas time, those kind of things. We're talking about a lot of different ideas. And a lot of you are smiling because you agree. It seems like grade levels are doing the same thing over and over again. Students are doing the same things over and over again. And we have kids that are bored with just the typical routines. With the setup that we're going to have, kids are going to be able to work with their strengths and get to do the things that they want to do while we're still addressing Common Core, we're addressing literacy, we're addressing STEM, and we're integrating. And it's very transdisciplinary in nature. Okay, we're also going to be using the next generation science standards. With that, this means we have all of these new standards here. We have second grade, we also have third. We have arguments and evidence. We also have making claims, and we're having problems and solutions. So this is going to be something that's ongoing, but it's not something that's going to be so far stretched. I'm thinking about some of the professional development that Mary Helen's done in our school. It's not going to be something that's so ongoing that students lose sight about, okay, well, we've been doing this now for 4 weeks. It's kind of boring. It's going to be something short. Students are going to get feedback from the teachers. The GATE teachers are going to be working with these standards, and we're going to just continue to grow as a group of students.
If I can really quickly add, absolutely. The advantage to using next generation science standards is the articulated CDI layout. So when we go into life sciences, second grade, you can already see the connections that make life sciences good. So it's not, you're not having folks sitting down to reinvent the wheel, which is something that I think is as a group we all understand efficiency is paramount for our teachers. So it's actually already done there, and they are really well dovetailed together. I think for that were articulated between second and third grade. If one were to look at the continuum across the NGSS, there are so many different connections. Once again, looking at NGSS, they also make tremendous connections to ELA and math. That's something that's some resources already there, so we can capitalize on it. So the pilot school needs to have gone ahead and scrolled through. Everybody here is well versed or becoming well versed in that idea of scrolling curriculum. And the vertical articulation, as Matt said, currently I haven't looked at working in school with teams that do vertical articulated teams, so they have worked on these tools together. But that has to have already happened, and it has to be well developed. Having some opportunities to have Tara Ellis come in and work with us. We're using science standards out of the MSc currently as the nexus for stroke. Taking a look at how you can tie math and engineering and writing outcome piece, how to be accessible outcome to science. We also need a school that has one point of position in the history to the success program. And going back a couple of rotations in the present, all of the schools have a person who's a PTE trained teacher, it's very helpful if that's a person who's in 10th grade, because then you already have someone who's looking at kids from the same point of how do I capitalize on their strengths and move them, not just along with the standards, but how do I help them meet their team standards. They'll need some training in that BAKT applied methodologies. In other words, when you start these classrooms up, I think it'd be a tremendous disservice to the person who's already a second or third grade teacher to walk in and say, hi, by the way, you think Multiage would teach the count. It's not going to be supposed to work out. You have to have people who want to do this. So that's been a kind of recurrent theme. You have to have teachers who have buy-in, but they also have to have the will to want to try this out. You'll have to, I think, look at a school where you can afford some realignment. Some folks who say, you know what, it's not really my cup of tea. I like teaching 7th grade, but I don't want to do it in multi-age STEM block. If Susie, who's in 4th grade, if that's her burning passion for top grade levels, yeah, I'm going to enter her to grade level. But I'm stretching myself in professional development anyways. And there's no harm in the foul. You're making room for someone to get where they want to be with the kids. Anyways, you also have to have a great deal of cross-team and gate time built into your schedule. Built in, but it has to be structure has to be in place for your teachers to have the time mindset they need it. I think I've heard today is that people will have to create that time, that capital of time that their teachers can have invested in. And that'll happen and be used to take a plan, send integrated things of study, which is working with scrolling, is the next step. You have your scroll and take those standards that you unpack and take them and turn them into something practical and actionable in a classroom. But we press these IT methodology. Okay, so what we walk away with is starting in the fall, sort of backwards passes. Starting in the fall, we would have had time over the summer to have the 2 teams of teachers after we go through that process of realignment of grade levels in the schools where teachers have to be in classrooms. We want to be in classrooms. You might be a tremendously visually oriented teacher if I say to you, oh, you've got the tactile class. It's not something that necessarily would be able to help students capitalize on their strengths. We have to align people and students and purpose together. Using the training materials that we looked at and done some research on, we'll have to have the teams of teachers and kids get together over the summer. They first of all need to learn more about process assessment, what the results will tell them. Also happens to provide a great series of training materials that we can use for our summer PD for our teachers. That communications piece has to start most likely early summer. Once we have those kids in those 2 grade levels and we know who they are, we have to start thinking about how do we get this to parents in times where then we would ask them some questions, come in and sit down with us and talk with us about what this means for their child. As we move into the fall, we're looking at right out of the gate being able to have an integrated youth study where kids invest themselves in using the STEM project-based model, STEM block model. The nice part about this is that I think we know now, as we've looked at scrolling and integration, not everything lends itself really well to it. There are times when you have to back off of integration where you can't stretch the limits of integration to the point where the connections start to end. They're not natural. It's pretty obvious when you go to assess. It's something that I'm hearing from different schools that are working. So if we start out with this cross-age group model, create that first integrated study or they make a long-term, long-range plan as we're moving further than the first quarter. We also have that opportunity to move back into an organic age group when we need to. That's the nice part. In a smaller school, that transition is an easy or natural thing to happen.
I also want to add that the research, Brian mentioned matching up people. We don't have to necessarily match up the learning style of the teacher with the learning style of the student. Research has shown even if the teacher is aware of those learning styles, they can easily address the needs of the student, and the students actually learn better. So this would hopefully also include just the fact that we're giving them more information about different area, not necessarily academic, but how kids learn, just by the teachers knowing that, helping them to address the kids' needs on a regular basis. Even if you're not a tackle learner, you know that Johnny needs those type of things. Sorry.
Oh, it's all right. And another point about why this model would be a good model. A lot of times teachers will sit and they'll say, these are my students, my students, my students. It creates an ownership across grade levels this way. But you're not looking at just my little homeroom with 20-some students, 15, or 30 if you're in some schools. You're looking at everybody. You're looking at a whole school. So we're starting off with 2 grade levels. And I hope Ryan gets this. Here's our budget. It's not very flashy. And that's the thing. We sat down and we were like, this isn't going to be a flashy program. And I know Jack said it's not something you're going to be reading about in the newspaper. We're hoping the results will be read in the newspaper if this takes off. We have to sell it to the community. We have to be upright and honest. The leader of the school has to be knowledgeable and be able to speak about how the program is going to be implemented, what's it going to do for their son or daughter, their baby. And it's different. And when change is enacted, we saw the report cards. The report cards have changed. We have a lot of parents that have made phone calls. They got report cards Friday at the elementary level. Phone calls started coming in. People have been troubleshooting some of the problems with report cards. We're looking at a very small approach, trying to work out some bugs, trying to make sure that we get feedback from others. It's practical and it works. $500 for the assessments, $5 a student, as Maureen was talking about, 80 to 100 students. About $500 for the ELSA training materials. We're looking at having about 5 teachers involved. $2,500 for planning time. So looking at 20 hours of purposeful planning. There will be artifacts that the teachers will have to bring, the gate teacher will have to bring back. We'll have a physical scroll. We'll have a lot of that right in place so we can monitor what's going on. Looking at the total cost, $3,500. One school, trying to make sure that things work out properly. We grow it if it works. We continue to improve the process using data, using a lot of our best practices, and we have multiple data points that we'll be using once we design a curriculum.
This is the point at which Ted reaches over the close and says, I'm sorry. And then puts it away. Great job. Questions from panelists?
So this is 5 teachers accepted in 3rd grade.
It's the 4 grade level folks, 2nd, 3rd, and the business house.
And you're proposing part of it, so the kids could be sort of traditionally, whatever that means, scheduled, and then go into this STEM opportunity. How often? How every day?
We think, yeah. And I think also we talked about that earlier. There's something to be said for the first class. All the props to secondary folks, but they're having classrooms moving through however many times a day, 4, 6, 7. But there's something to be said for having kids. It's great for kids. They know who their surrogate mom or surrogate dad is. They know they're going to walk into the same person every day and start their day. And there's something to be said also for that ELA piece of the day, with our current model is set up. It does work with the needs being met. We do, I think, structure for many schools lets kids across classrooms within the grade level. It's a better read that we use based on assessments and kind of need from that. Some folks are going to do those. But that's definitely something that I think is essential because I think it's a human world. People need to feel like they belong to kids now.
So how long would they move into this STEM?
That's really it. I mean,
daily?
at Sharpsburg, we have a big block schedule, so your morning is humanities and your afternoon is STEM.
And another thing too, you look at it this way. I'm a big believer in relationship building. You have 2nd and 3rd grade teachers that they know the students, and they're building relationships there. And we have the different groups. And the tactile group is they have their own group, and like Ryan said, they're going back to the home with base students. They have a sense of belonging everywhere they go.
Technology would be concept.
Yeah. That.
So the idea was mostly with the school, and with, do you have a school in mind, or?
Because we were looking at it, I know it seems a little compartmental, because we're using that visual improvement as a icon. There are many models from the down. Both of it has been 12 from our desirable. It seemed to work well practically to be able to say we have a classroom that doesn't deny kids tactile experiences. The visual group is going to get much videos higher. Well, they have a lot. They're going to have those experiences, but it worked tactically very nicely to have a classroom that person, as we look at the science, that were planned out and integrated themselves in the visual classroom. They are capitalizing more on media that plays better inside. In the tactile, they are doing the exact same thing. They're finding media, maybe they're building more hands-on models as opposed to having kids film one another as they give a presentation on something. That's why we went for two seconds.
And you're the administrator of the school that we're suggesting.
Well, it could be. I mean, it could be any school. It could be extrapolated. I think there's no need to say that we could use 6 classrooms, 5 classrooms. But, say, I'm sorry, you guys have 5 rounds. I'm just sorry, I can't do that. It can be adjusted.
And we wanted to start small because we have so much going on. We want to start small and grow it. If it works really well, then we have the opportunity to grow. The nice thing about the assessment is it's a reasonable cost and it's something that we could implement. I know for our first graders, we do gifted test for all of those scales, for all of that. So for second graders, we should just do this. This is the assessment we should do, and then we'll go to the learning styles for all the kids across the county as it slowly becomes implemented. It's something that we're trying to start small with something realistic, do a little pilot, see how it works, grow it, and then kind of pull people in as we're successful, rather than saying, let's do this for everyone in the entire county.
And it's realistic. We're looking at Common Core being implemented in the county. We're looking at a new Danielson model being implemented. We know, based on the pulse of our county, that there are a lot of new programs that are being developed and also implemented in our county. And we know that teachers are overwhelmed at this point. And we need to just gently come in, develop something, get all the kinks worked out at one school, and then, as everybody said, grow it and move forward with it.
It's been interesting. There's talk of being across the schools for purposes. And one of the things that we talked about this is trying to make sure that no matter what we do, the staff feel that says, this is the time to do this. This is the time to be creative. This is the time to branch out any one of these proposals to implement. You can strike while the iron's hot, change in the air, and as much change into good things as one can do.
So, your current curriculum is in place that you do multi-grade level, or would that have to be part of the training?
It has to be part of the training, because the next generation science standards are similar things that we have. We have a science rep who went to engineer and some of the courses. They are best versed in NGSS on the state. I haven't switched. So I have an NGSS initiate already. We're looking at science assessment. The state is still placing its money on science. We're still using, we don't have full adoption of NGSS coming down the road. I think we're going to take the CDIs from the NGSS and look carefully at the MSC for science and find the parallels and see where they overlap. This is going to transition from the MSC science to NGSS is going to be the challenge that that's what someone's faced with moving forward to Common Core, which is we still have some friends who like to live off their MSC labels and stick a Common Core label on the lesson. reverse engineer lessons. So my favorite one about pumpkins is we hate pumpkins in Washington County. Sure, that was our 30. There's some less on pumpkins, they get more less not pumpkins. They don't use this. It's fine. I was glad for that. So we transition to this one.
And we take that in third grade. Their developmental needs, but also GSS. Easily build a lesson.
Thank you. About 5 minutes. Denise, you shot.
Right now it's on budget. Another $20 on the budget.